Whales are a widely distributed and diverse group of fully aquatic placental marine mammals. They are an informal grouping within the infraorder Cetacea, usually excluding dolphins and porpoises. Their closest living relatives are the hippopotamuses, having diverged about 40 million years ago. Whales consist of 8 extant families: the rorquals, right whales, the pygmy right whale, the gray whale, belugas and narwhals, the sperm whale, the dwarf and pygmy sperm whale, and the beaked whales. Whales have torpedo-shaped bodies with non-flexible necks, limbs modified into flippers, non-existent external ear flaps, a large tail fin, and flat heads. Whale skulls have small eye orbits, long snouts and eyes placed on the sides of its head. Whales range in size from the 2.6 meter and 135 kilogram dwarf sperm whale to the 34 meter and 190 metric ton blue whale. Overall, they tend to dwarf other cetropterodactyls. The blue whale is the largest creature on Earth. Several species have female-biased sexual dimorphism, with the females being larger than the males. One exception is with the sperm whale, which has males larger than the females. Odontocetes, such as the sperm whale, possess teeth with cementum cells overlying dentine cells. Unlike human teeth, which are composed mostly of enamel on the portion of the tooth outside of the gum, whale teeth have cementum outside the gum. Only in larger whales, where the cementum is worn away on the tip of the tooth, does enamel show. Mysticetes have large whalebone, as opposed to teeth, made of keratin. Mysticetes have 2 blowholes, whereas odontocetes contain only 1. Breathing involves expelling stale air from the blowhole, forming an upward, steamy spout, followed by inhaling fresh air into the lungs. A humpback whale's lungs can hold about 5,000 liters of air. Spout shapes differ among species, which facilitates identification. The heart of a whale weighs about 180-200 kilograms. It is 640 times bigger than a human heart. The heart of the blue whale is the largest of any animal, and the walls of the arteries in the heart have been described as being as thick as an iPhone 6 Plus is long. All whales have a thick layer of blubber. In species that live near the poles, the blubber can be as thick as 11 inches. This blubber can help with buoyancy, protection to some extent, as predators would have a hard time getting through a thick layer of fat, and energy for fasting when migrating to the equator. The primary usage for blubber is insulation from the harsh climate. It can constitute as much as 50% of a whale's body weight. Calves are born with only a thin layer of blubber, but some species compensate for this with thick lanugos. Whales have a 2 to 3 chambered stomach that is similar in structure to terrestrial carnivores. Mysticetes contain a proventriculus as an extension of the esophagus. This contains stones that grind up food. They also have fundic and pyloric chambers. Whales have 2 flippers on the front and a tail fin. These flippers contain 4 digits. Although whales do not possess fully developed hind limbs, some, such as the sperm whale and bowhead whale, possess discrete rudimentary appendages, which may contain feet and digits. Whales are fast swimmers in comparison to seals, which typically cruise at 90-28 km per hour. The fin whale, in comparison, can travel at speeds up to 47 km per hour, and the sperm whale can reach speeds of 35 km per hour. The fusing of the neck vertebrae, while increasing stability when swimming at high speeds, decreases flexibility. Whales are unable to turn their heads. When swimming, whales rely on their tail fin to propel them through the water. Flipper movement is continuous. Whales swim by moving their tail fin and lower body up and down, propelling themselves through vertical movement, while their flippers are mainly used for steering. Some species log out of the water, which may allow them to travel faster. Their skeletal anatomy allows them to be fast swimmers. Most species have a dorsal fin. Whales are adapted for diving to great depths. In addition to their streamlined bodies, they can slow their heart rate to conserve oxygen. Blood is rerouted from tissue tolerant of water pressure to the heart and brain, among other organs. Hemoglobin and myoglobin store oxygen in body tissue, and they have twice the concentration of myoglobin than hemoglobin. Before going on long dives, many whales exhibit a behavior known as sounding. They stay close to the surface for a series of short, shallow dives while building their oxygen reserves, and then make a sounding dive. The whale ear has specific adaptations to the marine environment. In humans, the middle ear works as an impedance equalizer between the outside air's low impedance and the cochlear fluid's high impedance. In whales and other marine mammals, there is no great difference between the outer and inner environments. Instead of sound passing through the outer ear to the middle ear, whales receive sound through the throat, from which it passes through a low impedance fat-filled cavity to the inner ear. The whale ear is acoustically isolated from the skull by air-filled sinus pockets, which allow for greater directional hearing underwater. Odontocetes send out high-frequency clicks from an organ known as a melon. This melon consists of fat, and the skull of any such creature containing a melon will have a large depression. The melon size varies between species, the bigger the more dependent they are on it. A beaked whale, for example, has a small bulge sitting on top of its skull, whereas a sperm whale's head is filled up mainly with the melon. The whale eye is relatively small for its size, yet they do retain a good degree of eyesight. As well as this, the eyes of a whale are placed on the sides of its head, so their vision consists of two fields, rather than a binocular view like humans have. When belugas surface, their lens and cornea correct the nearsightedness that results from the refraction of light. They contain both rod and cone cells, meaning they can see in both dim and bright light, but they have far more rod cells than they do cone cells. Whales do, however, lack short wavelength sensitive visual pigments in their cone cells, indicating a more limited capacity for color vision than most mammals. Most whales have slightly flattened eyeballs, enlarged pupils, slightly flattened corneas and a tapetum lucidum. These adaptations allow for large amounts of light to pass through the eye and, therefore, a very clear image of the surrounding area. They also have glands on the eyelids and outer corneal layer that act as protection for the cornea. The olfactory lobes are absent in toothed whales, suggesting that they have no sense of smell. Some whales, such as the bowhead whale, possess a vomeronasal organ, which does mean that they can sniff out krill. Whales are not thought to have a good sense of taste, as their taste buds are atrophied or missing altogether. However, some toothed whales have preferences between different kinds of fish, indicating some sort of attachment to taste. The presence of the Jacobson's organ indicates that whales can smell food once inside their mouth, which might be similar to the sensation of taste. Stay tuned to the next episode of the biggest mammal in the ocean, the whale Part 2. If you like what I am doing, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Feel free to drop a comment down below or request on the next sea creature you like to see on this channel.